Hey friends, we're here with a Benchmade fiddle by Mr. Carlson. If you are somebody that likes a loud and powerful fiddle, well, I would say buckle up because this is right up your alley. So a violin fiddle, it's made a little bit differently, a little more non-traditional, but we'll let you hear. So let me turn it over to Catherine.
Because I'm a huge fan of the loud instruments, the really bright loud instruments. I'm a huge fan of those. I love those. When I picked out my personal violin, I was handed two violins, and the other one was really stinking loud, and the other one was like really beautiful and warm. And I was like, Mom, we're leaving with this loud one. So I love loud instruments. And so this one, it's very loud. Like the gain is turned up on this one, and I think it is awesome, especially if you play in a setting where you really have to stick out and be heard. Perfect. This one is your instrument for that. I imagine this instrument would be really good for, if you're concertmaster of like an orchestra or something and you have a lot of solos and you have to really make sure that you're projecting. Fantastic for that. Chamber music, maybe good for that, but not fantastic for that, because you have to be able to blend. And so if you can tame this instrument, and you can tame it, all the power to you. I think it'd sound great. It has a beautiful tone, and it's really bright, but very also like really rich. It has a very rich caramel sound. And so if you can somehow, figure out a way with either your luthier or with the strings, if you can tame the sound down, it'd be really good for chamber music. Now, if you're a solo musician, you don't have to work at all. You just play this thing, and it will project. You're playing in the Meyerson, it'll be sent all the way up. If you're playing in Bass Hall, it'll be sent everywhere. Like this is, I cannot stress how beautiful and powerful this instrument is, which is awesome. It's so cool. I love it. different bows there that I just decided to do last minute. I went with this shop bow, and then the second one was the Sandner. Then I went with the Pernambuco, and then I went with my personal bow, the Hill bow. And I just, wait, that's not my bow. My bow's somewhere in there. There's a lot of bows on the table right now, but it's somewhere in there. It was my personal bow. I just kind of wanted to demonstrate how, you know, this sound it's just so projective and loud. I wanted to see and do like kind of a live experiment and see how the different bows affected the sound. And, you know, John, correct me if I'm wrong, but I definitely heard a difference with each of the bows, how some of them really like cranked out the sound. One of them cranked out the sound so much that the sound capped. I don't know, and I'm sure you heard it, but like it pushed out so much sound that it was like, okay, that's enough. And it like started to choke. I was like, okay, all right, that bow's a little too much. And I think that one was the Pernambuco. Fairly sure that's how you pronounce it. John will correct me later. And then with the hill bow did not want to cooperate with this one. And so I think the heavier the bow actually ends up taming this instrument pretty well, which is kind of in a weird way ironic. It just gets better contact, and then you don't have to work as hard. Because a lot of the times, if you have to really push into the instrument, if your bow is lighter and you have to push more, it's going to draw out too much sound because you're putting in way too much effort. Versus having, you know, a 66.4 gram bow do the work for you, versus like the 1 pound that you're putting into it. I hope that made sense. That's my little brain jumble to y'all. But back to the instrument. Again, you can hear this instrument at every corner of this house probably. It has a very beautiful clear tone, extremely great balance, really phenomenal balance, deep low end, all the way up to that very beautiful clear high end, while the clarity is just well managed all the way across the board. No matter where I played, it just, you know, it sounds great. Extremely clear, really. Just it has a beautifully clear tone all around. Wow. Especially with this heavier bow, you know, of course it's really producing out a lot of sound. But I don't have to work as much in order to get that sound, if that's the sound you're wanting, if you want that really powerful, bright sound. This one's a bit lighter. The Sandner seemed to be the next best pairing with this one. So, relatively the same brightness. Still pretty loud, but with the heavier bow, it actually draws out a little bit more depth out of the instrument. This one is just really producing a loud sound, and I promise this is not a bow demo. This is, you know, a demo for the instrument, showing all of the different, you know, sound aspects of this instrument. And with both of these bows, this one is 58 grams. Let me do quick math. There's an 8 gram difference. But I find that the heavier bow actually draws a little bit more tone and a rounded sound versus the lighter bows, which is, you know, kind of just getting that surfacey loud sound. But that's just my personal experience. Of course, you know, have this shipped out to you so you can test it out with your bows, because that's the most important thing. Overall though, like, golly, this is such a beautifully bright and powerful instrument. Seriously, so amazing for solo stuff. Or if you're a gigging musician, it's a great sound. You can play a lot of pop covers on this. And also, earlier we were talking about the heel of the neck. And I remember I was saying, well, the feelings are always a little bit different on the heel of the violin here, because each of them are a little bit different. And I had made the stance that, like, it really doesn't really make so much of a difference. I actually have to take back that point, because this heel is a little flatter, just a little bit flat on the flatter side, so it's not like super rounded like mine is. I find it's actually quite comfortable with my thumb. It's incredibly comfortable, and I was very, very pleasantly surprised whenever I was playing Don Juan. So I just wanted to give that little kudos to this instrument. But yeah, if you're a soloist, this is your instrument. If you're a concertmaster and you have solos, this is your instrument. And if you are well versed in taming down bright instruments, then you can use this for everywhere else, because this is a very, very good quality instrument. Sounds beautiful, has a beautiful tone, great response, extremely clear, very well balanced. And so you definitely have to come try this one out.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the wonderful playing. I appreciate it. And Mr. Carlson, nod to you, sir. Thanks, online friends. Play on.